It's 7 o'clock, I guess we can get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the February 19th Planning Board meeting. We have just, actually I don't see anybody here for it, but Nicole Woods subdivision, they have again requested postponement to the March 5th meeting, so they are not going to be on tonight.
Is that a motion? I'll second it.
I don't know if we need to make a motion, they already requested to postpone it, so.
It should be a motion.
We should? All right, well, let's open first and then we'll get to it, okay? Anyways, would you join in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Kathy, you want to call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Arena?
Here.
Mr. Kashani?
Here.
Mr. Kosel?
Here.
Mr. Malta?
Here.
Mr. Mixel?
Oh, he's not here.
No, I didn't, yeah, I was
Didn't answer, I guess he's not here.
Mr. Rampy?
Don't see him there. Here.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
And, Mr. Genesi?
He's,
is not present.
yeah, he did say at the last meeting, I guess he was going to be out of town. And Raja is still recuperating from his event there, so we're without an attorney this evening. Okay, and again, we have the Nicole Woods, okay, you want to go ahead and...
I'll make a motion to table Nicole Wood subdivision till our March 5th meeting.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Okay, go ahead. Dave, you want to get started?
Alan Bargain outlet sign located 950 Ridge Road, applicant sign and lighting service, requesting sign approval to install a 263.44 square foot facade sign and replacement panels on the monument sign having a 16 square foot under Code of Town Webster.
Good evening, my name is Jay Hersey, with Sign and Lighting Services, and we're proposing to put approximately a 263 square foot sign on the front of the building, and then take the two existing pylons or monument signs and split the blank panel and take half of each panel.
You're talking about the sign up on the road?
Correct.
The pylons, monument sign, or, yeah, okay.
Yes,
It's what you have on a drawing, correct?
that's correct.
The sign in the front of the building, that meets the square footage that you had?
Yes.
Okay.
Barely under the mass, yes.
Is that lit in, obviously?
Yes, it's
lit?
internally illuminated.
All right. And the other sign we have on the monument sign, you've got it yellow with red. So that conforms, it's not bright white or anything, so that's
Correct, it's fairly opaque.
Yep. I don't see anything, any issues, anybody, any issues? No.
So it's the
code. The sign is backlit inside, you know, the big sign.
Is the background for the good stuff cheap, gonna be opaque?
That's not lit there, is it? The white?
That is illuminated,
The white is?
yes.
Why don't you change that, make that and just light the I didn't even see that, then, good catch. Good stuff cheap, light that up, the letters, the figures, and illuminate the bright white in the background.
I can't make that choice, but board can recommend that.
Well, I think that's what we'd probably do, because that meets what the code calls for
Okay.
signs. And then if they don't like that, they can come back and plead an issue, but I can't see where it should be an issue there.
I don't think so either.
They can reverse
Yeah, just
it,
reverse it, that's all.
where the white is, make it black, where the black is, make it white,
Yeah,
so just the good stuff cheap shows.
Okay.
yeah, good catch, man, I didn't see that.
Are they redoing the facade on the front of this? Because the picture shows it as gray. Is that the facade code?
Yeah, these colors are so phony on here, you can't
Is
even
it,
tell.
is it red down? Isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the building permit entails. I think it was just possibly painting that.
I think the front of it right now is kind of a reddish color, isn't it? from
Correct.
Kmart?
Correct.
The old,
Bookends,
right? Yeah. All right, okay, so, just see around and we'll just look at the changes.
yeah. On the monument sign, is the yellow going to shine through?
It does illuminate, but it's fairly opaque because of the color that it is.
Yeah, I don't see that as too much, it's
Okay.
not too bright.
Just want to clarify.
I think it's the, no, that's good, good catch. I think the white really is what leads right away, it's like a bright white light, you know, like PJs there, that's really should have either way that is. The other one's all conform. I don't have an issue with that one personally. Okay.
Town of Webster Planning Board consider request by applicant sign and lighting services for a 263.4 square foot facade sign and replacement panels on an existing monument sign located in 950 Ridge Road. Planning Board classifies a proposed action as a type 2 action under section 617.5C2 of the state environmental quality review regulations and therefore is not subject to further review.
Second.
Any motions?
Okay, Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Coastal,
Aye.
Mr. Rampy,
Aye.
Mr. Malta,
Aye.
Mr. Arena,
Aye.
Mr. Kachant.
Aye. Okay, so you wanna make a motion for the sign?
I'll make a motion to approve the Ollie's Bargain Outlet sign located at 950 Ridge Road.
You wanna, I'm sorry, can we do them both? We can do them both together, can't we? Bill, what do you think?
Facade signs?
As presented, I mean, one is,
Same, one application.
any change, the only thing we wanna change is that one part for good stuff, cheap or something.
Just
We can
condition.
just make that as a change in it then, right? You agree?
Condition.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And, located at 950 Road, approved to install the square foot facade and replacement panels on the mounting sign with the good stuff cheap, not to be opaque. Right, so
Yeah,
the lights-
reverse the color.
Reverse the color so it doesn't shine through. And, let's see. Okay,
The white area is to be an opaque color. Let's put it that way, make it clear. Okay?
as applied for with the drawings that we have, that has no numbers on it, but it says Ollie's Signs, so we did it right. It's a motion.
Okay, any motion?
Second.
Mr. Arena,
Aye.
Mr. Coastal,
Aye.
Mr. Rampy,
Aye.
Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Malta,
Aye.
Mr. Kachant.
Aye. You're all set.
Thank you. Sepinado, 2 lots, re-subdivision located 665, okay, well, that can carry Sepinado, requesting final site subdivision approval for the establishment of 2 residential lots for the construction of 1 single-family house. Location involves parcel having 2.51 acres, located in a R3 district, single-family, under the Port Town of Webster.
Al Rue, Van Rue Associates. Last Tuesday, we met with the zoning board of appeals. We received 2 variances, one to allow the metal-clad storage building to be in front of the proposed house, and for the size of that building. We were not given approval for the farm stand as a second accessory structure. So as a part of this, we will be removing that farm stand and the blacktop concrete around it and the electric going to it. We also were not given a variance for 5 feet from the property line to the driveway. And because we want to have a turnaround on lot 2, we put a bend in the property line, as you can see from the plan. And then that gravel will be removed. But other than that, that's the only changes to the plan, and we're ready to go.
So what did we handle last time? We gave something, let's see. We made a subject PRC approval, subject to the determination of the ZBA for the requested variances. We determined all improvements, constructed, no outside storage was allowed. Okay, so preliminary approval for 665, when they were in a couple weeks ago, was all site work in compliance, approval is subject to the drawing that was presented, no commercial use, no outside storage. Improvements in accordance with specs of the town, and the ZBA's requirements. And so their requirement was that thing had come down.
That's right. We argued, but we didn't get anywhere with that.
Yeah,
argument.
yeah.
Because we thought it was something that the community could see, but the argument didn't go anywhere.
Okay, so what do we have to do here? We had a motion to, so we did give a subdivision approval.
Yeah, I didn't
At
know
that
whether
time,
you,
Bill, you made the motion for subdivision approval.
I didn't know whether you wanted to redo that because we changed the property line a little bit,
It should be.
so
It has to
just,
be modified then.
Yes.
just modify it.
Okay, so we could do again, Bill, maybe it would be, make the motion again, subject to the revised drawing dimensions.
In accordance with the ZBA.
Yes, that were required by the ZBA.
Right.
Okay, and I would make a motion
Subdivision?
that the subdivision be approved, conditioned on CBA conditions.
Is it the same drawing number, or is it a different number now? We can just add
It's the
that.
same drawing number.
Okay, so there, you say one, well, here, I can give it to you, and you can just, you had made a motion to grant subdivision approval, 665 Bay Road, drawing number 1238-01.
The only difference is a revision date.
That's what I'm saying.
Which refers.
So now, that's what we have to put in, right? So just put it in based on the dimensions is approved by the ZBA and subject to the new modification
To
or
the new
the,
modification.
whatever that is, I don't know
To the
what that is.
modification of the site.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12/13/19.
What is it?
2/13/19.
213. Okay, so, you got that okay? This is an approval, this is a subdivision approval, this would be, this is just for the subdivision itself, not for the. Yeah, correct. All right, Bill, you wanna just repeat it, and then she'll, just so she has it for the recording.
What was, it's still a.
Here, I'll read it off, it's your motion, so Bill Rainey's making this motion, because I've got it here, so. Is making a motion to grant subdivision approval to 665 Bay Road, drawing number 1238-01, with the modifications, subject to the modifications of the requirements of the ZBA, which they've changed the size of. Don't forget that.
Okay.
Tony, have you got that now? I'm sorry.
I think she's got it.
Just make sure she puts in her revised version as it's.
Yeah, that's right.
I have that.
All right, Bill's motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Rampy,
Aye.
Mr. Malta,
Aye.
Mr. Kosel,
Aye.
Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Arena,
Aye.
Mr. Kashani.
Aye. Okay, that part's out of the way, so now, we have what? Anything else on there, or is that it?
We have to give them a timeline for removing the farm stand.
Yeah, you could put it down for 5 years, I suppose.
I'll agree.
I'm being facetious, I can say that.
That was a good suggestion.
2 years? 1 year?
At the time C of O for the house?
I'm sorry?
At the time C of O for the house?
That's not a bad, that's a year away anyways. Before you
Right.
get a certificate of occupancy for the house, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you know, I don't work with you as much as you can.
at least it gives me the summer, gives me a
That's what I
season
mean.
to do what I need.
When are you gonna start the house?
Hopefully within 2 months.
So you start in 2 months, so you're not gonna be ready for, by the time you get a C of O, you're talking 9 months away with other stuff you're doing, right?
End of the summer,
So let's call it a year, how's that?
Great.
All right?
Yep,
So that way, if you wanna put stuff in there or something, then you can use it while you're, okay. Is
sure.
that okay with you guys?
Yeah.
So make a motion to.
It's gonna be a preliminary approval.
It's actually final, I mean, it's- final approval for, huh?
So we're gonna put, you're adding that to what?
Yeah, final approval for, see, we gave it preliminary approval. So final approval, you wanna make it basically subject to the PRC comments. And the big thing in there is, timeline removal for the barn, you can put that as a year, so that it's, yeah. Let's do
No
these.
price and rent fees, is that applicable?
Let's see.
Would be for the new house, yes.
Yeah, you can put the regular stuff, you can put
So
some
we'll
of
make,
these.
we'll make a motion for final approval.
Subject changes.
665 payroll, subject to PRC comments, subject to parks and rec fees, subject to preliminary approval conditions, subject to all applicable government fees, subject to Department of Public Works approvals. Significant construction shall occur within 1 year as deemed by the planning board, and to expire on 2/19/2020. Conditions of preliminary and final approval are depicted on the cover page of the final design plans.
You might just want to add this in here, all, it's the PRC comments, but I spell them right out. All existing easements should be labeled with library page. And the next one is the garage should be conditioned not to be used for commercial and or living purposes, which we're okay with. Board of Appeals approved the existing 4,000 square foot metal garage on Brookfield, so they left that. All right? Anything else?
And the farm stand has to come down within 1 year from today, by 2019, 2020. Subject to resolution of final approved minutes. Rules are subject to drawing number.
Oh, it's 12/38/01, from February, what, 13th, I believe?
Revised 2/13/19.
On that stand being removed, after 1 year, should that be before a C of O is issued for the house?
No.
Yeah, for 1 year.
All right,
No, prior to a C of O being issued.
yeah.
That gives him time to leave it there while he's building the house, so he can use it.
Like I said, yeah.
Yeah. All right,
That's it.
that's your motion. Need a
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Malta,
Aye.
Mr. Kosel,
Aye.
Mr. Rampy,
Aye.
Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Arena,
Aye.
Mr. Kashani.
Yeah. Very good, good luck, dude.
Take care.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Bay Blue subdivision modification located at 1074, 1076, 1080, 1075, and 1083 Glenleaf Drive. Applicant James Leonardo is requesting preliminary final site plan approval to reconfigure lots 2, 3, and 4 into 2 lots and to combine lots 1 and 6. Total project is 3.5 acres. located in the WD District Waterfront Development under Town of Webster.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Jack Rules. I was here about a month ago. We're here requesting secret negative declaration, preliminary and final subdivision, and preliminary and final site plan approval if possible for this 4-lot subdivision modification. As we said last time, this was originally approved back in 2012 as a 6-lot, so since then, the infrastructure was basically put in. The Glen Edith Drive was improved with gutters. The water main, sewer, and other utilities were put in on this. And Lot 5, this may not be the best. Can you see this? Lot 5 is already developed. Somebody's living there. The comments from December 20th from the DPW and Project Review Committee, pump station needs repair, needed some drainage study information, easements will need to be filed, and the Lot 5 driveway is partially on proposed Lot R3. So we will address that. January 2nd, we met with the residents out there. They were pretty much in favor of this, but they had a concern about the length of one of the docks. We met with you on the 15th. January, you tabled this. We're going to go to the ZBA and talk about the docks. We did go to the ZBA on the 12th. They tabled discussion on the docks. They asked us to have our applicant hire an attorney to speak with the ZBA attorney about the codes in Webster and how they apply to the docks. There are some conflicting numbers in there. So that's underway. And what we modified from before is we removed the docks from the application that you now have. We had requested and shown a 30-foot front setback variance for Lot R1, which is on the east side of Glen Edith Drive. The ZBA was not comfortable with that because they couldn't see the house and they didn't know if it was too much or too little. So we withdrew that request. So we are still showing a 45-foot front setback for Lot R1. That's a change from the drawings we gave you before, and those are on the drawings you have now. The owner, as we stated in our letter, he's agreed to make the repairs to the pump station either prior to filing the resub plat, or if necessary, he can set up a letter of credit to cover that cost of that work. And we have contacted the contractor who did the original construction to get a quote for that repair work. We did provide a drainage summary. Basically, what we're doing is we are keeping the impervious area of this 4-lot subdivision less than the impervious area of the previous Glen Edith Drive and the homes that were along this area here. In so doing, we're complying with the open notice of intent and SWIP that were prepared for this project. And we're working with the resident on Lot 5. He's going to relocate his driveway, so it's totally on Lot R5 and not on the other ones. That's my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I'm looking at the new drawing here. You got sewers running, lines every which way, and I'm trying to figure out where the heck it's all.
Yeah, there's going to be a need to abandon some of those laterals and easements, and new, obviously, new laterals and easements will need to be established. Obviously, the applicant is trying to be very concise, really complicated when you're looking at the drawing.
Yeah.
Sort of having a plan and following it through, it's difficult, yes.
There was, as you know, there was originally as shown on this drawing here, there was originally a common driveway that came off of Glen Edith, and there was an open area here, and the utilities associated with that, which are mostly abandoned, will be abandoned now for the most part. And every lot will come out to Glen Edith Drive. So that's a change from the 2012. So there will be some things that will be abandoned, and obviously that has to take place before we do any plat filing.
Okay. All right, so what do we have for issues? Well, easements, okay, that's engineering. The road turnaround for the highway vehicles is required to accommodate snow plows.
Yes,
You got that?
well, we do, and I think we do because
There was one at the end.
there was one here.
Yes,
But when this driveway, this parking area was put in, this provided one, and the highway superintendent indicated, I don't remember his name,
Joe Hurst, yes.
Joe Herbst, that this would suffice for trucks to be able to back in and drive
It
around.
seems to me that came up the last time, and he was okay with that, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that covered. Applicant has agreed to correct the outstanding issues with the pump station.
That's correct, and I
Right.
stated that in my letter to you on the 14th.
Okay. Submittal of record drawing. Easement for the pump station and access to force main is required. An easement
Here again,
for the
we
town?
we need to establish easements, the pump station needs part of that.
Okay, again, that's engineering, so we have to put that, so you guys can, yeah. A revised drainage analysis, a stormwater control plan is required to be submitted. Okay, revised drainage analysis, so it actually should be simpler now with only 4 houses as opposed to 6, correct? So that's, should be
And
enough.
most of the
Plus-
drainage infrastructure is there already. But as these lots are individually developed, we've met with the town engineering staff, DPW staff, and we will be coming in on a lot-by-lot basis as they are developed to make sure that we provide anything that needs to be done.
Let's see, a debris trap shall be installed in the first catch basin prior to discharging into Running Bay.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure, I'm sorry. A debris trap
Sure, we'll do
shall be
that.
installed in the first catch basin prior to discharging into Arundel Bay.
We concur with
You okay with that too? So that can be accomplished, okay. Necessary variances were approved by the Board of Appeals, February 12th, last week. And then the interpretation regarding the dock is to be determined in a month from now, so March 19th, I believe.
Well, yeah, I think, as I said, an attorney is being engaged to
Yeah.
work with the ZBA attorney to do that, at which point that can be addressed. And we may choose to address it on a lot-by-lot basis, or we may choose to try and do it all at once. Do you have a preference? Now, there are a total of 4 docks, actually one exists, there would be 3 docks. And I don't want to bore you with details, but the one question was, how long can the long one be? And the second one is this lot entitled to have a dock? Technically, this dock is in the near shore area. It is 155 feet from here to this lot, and about 65% of this lot is within 300 feet of the shore. So there's a legal question on whether or not this gets a dock. That's part of what has to be discussed between the attorneys, because in some areas in your code it says a near shore area residence is entitled to a dock. In other areas they say the planning board can issue permit for a dock for lands that are abutting the water. So that's one of the things.
All of the ones we have now, as far as I'm aware, they all have waterfront ownership. You know?
Well, that's why the confusion, that's why.
Yeah, I know, that's, but I'm looking at all the ones we got around the bay, they're all,
The problem is, I'm being on that harbor management committee. And I was on the committee for the docks for town ordinance. So we
Yeah.
had that too. Establishing the code the way it's established, we did not want to establish a precedent where, sure, better words, an inlander could establish a dock or run a dock from a shore parcel. And our shoreline would look like a porcupine,
yeah.
for lack of better
No, I
description.
know, that's,
Uh,
all
what
those
if it
little
was-
lots in the Rinway up by the bay up there, if they, each one of those.
If you had a homeowners association,
Right.
you could utilize a marina. But there again, we're very cautious on establishing a precedent for someone that did not own any property actually on Rockaway Bay be able to have a dock.
Ideally, what would be nice, my opinion only here, would be Leonardo has, I know he's got a fairly large boat. I can see where he's got his dock the size he does. My thinking would be to limit it to 2 docks, one long one and one smaller one. And that other one would be common ownership of the homeowners in there, and eliminate 4 separate docks. The point would be to just get 1 or 2 docks. And I know he wants his own dock, so that's, it's a special case, I guess. But the other 3 could actually go onto one good-sized dock, make another
Well, actually,
100-foot dock.
one of those docks already exists. Of the 4 docks, one already exists with lot 5. I hadn't shown it here.
So that one's on, that's the
There's
one,
one there.
that's the house that's up now.
So there's the 3 remaining ones here,
Yeah,
and the intent was for each one to have a dock. Like I said, the attorneys will be working on this.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just leave it up to them and see what they come up with. But my opinion would be to just minimize the number of them. And, obviously you put a dock in, if you put a dock in, it's 100 foot long. You got 2 sides to that thing. You could put, 4 good-sized boats on there. So you need another dock, see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
And I understand them wanting their own dock also, but that's, okay, we'll let that part go, because it's really here tonight.
On the map for the existing lot 5, on the sheets there, it shows a cut in
I'm sorry.
on the sheet 3, on lot 5. You see there's a cut in, like a little cove cut in area?
Yeah, I don't know what that is. All I know is that it came from the surveyor, so I'm not sure.
Like
Maybe
a-
I think maybe that's where the dock goes out. Do you happen to know, Don? I should know.
Right here.
No, there was a existing ramp.
A ramp,
was.
okay.
Not sure if that's there anymore. Do you happen to know?
I don't think they filled it in. I don't believe they received a permit to fill it in, so I'm pretty confident it was there and it's still there.
Yeah, it's probably still there because of the way
Okay.
this was drawn up.
That makes sense. It would be.
So maybe the dock that they have is probably near there.
It's interesting that the property line was drawn.
Yeah.
It's probably to the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And I guess that's right.
That's right, it's probably to the water, so yeah. So maybe their dock, is their dock
They do have a dock there.
facing out that way then?
It is not shown, but if you look on Google Earth or Google Maps, you'll see the dock there.
Okay.
It's about 45 feet long. I think it's sort of a dog-like dock. It
Oh,
comes
yeah.
out and then turns 90.
Yeah, because where it is, yeah, it would make sense that it would do that. Don't want to do it to the neighbor's house.
So the section of Glenneath Drive that's on here, the way the lines are drawn, almost looks like its own parcel.
I'm
It's
sorry.
actually back here.
I'm not, can I come closer because I'm missing some.
The section of Glenneath Drive, with the way it's drawn on here, there's a line crossing over the road. Kind of implies it's a separate lot. Is that actually,
Yeah, I believe that the dedicated portion stops here.
before you had mentioned something about this existing neighborhood parking,
Yes.
whether or not it was staying one way, I don't remember offhand, but is there some kind of agreement in place, or who maintains this area?
Well,
It's clearly being shown in somebody else's parcel.
right, you're correct. It was a requirement, it was part of the approval in 2012, and was installed to serve those parcels to the north along the bay. There was interest on the part of Leonardo to see if the town would in any way accept ownership of it and maintenance of it, or if a homeowners association could be created. it didn't seem to go very far. So as of now, it's the responsibility of the property owner, which is June Leonardo, and when it is transferred to somebody else, there'll have to be some sort of agreement done on who will maintain it. At present, it would seem that it would be the responsibility of the purchaser of that lot, but that hasn't been, I guess that hasn't been finalized. But right now,
Is that parking for primarily those houses to the north?
yeah, yes, it's,
Sure.
there's an easement granted to them for that purpose, so it's serving all these homes. Right? Yes. serving these homes.
It seems like an odd thing to pass on to someone buying that parcel.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden they're responsible for taking care of somebody else's. I know what I would do, I wouldn't do nothing. If I were to buy that, I'd just let it sit.
Buyer beware.
Well, that's what I wondered, with this thing being in here, does there have to be some kind of easement?
But there actually is an easement on that.
That overlays it? I'm just not seeing it now.
I think I included a plat. The VE 110, which should have been the last drawing, which was in color. I hope yours was in color, was it not? Does show an easement. Parking easement to these homes up to the north, Glenea, and to the town of Webster, Liber, so-and-so, a so-and-so. So an easement is granted, permanent easement for the use. Town can turn around in there and the residents can park there. That's a permanent easement that's been established in that area.
And that does correspond to the size of the parking area?
Yes.
That easement though, does that easement have specific terms in it saying that
There is an actual
Landowner.
easement, I don't have it with me, but there is in fact an easement that has been filed. This was filed.
I'm just wondering the wording in it, that,
Yeah.
you know, it says, whoever buys this parcel, okay, there's an acknowledgement that there's an easement on there. But how does he know, whoever buys it, how do they know that they're responsible for maintaining that?
Well,
Check the easement agreement over the, indicate that.
And so, does the easement as it's written now specifically say that whoever buys this parcel has to maintain this parking area that's in their front yard that's has an easement for somebody
Yes.
else's use?
yeah, the answer is yes. That is part of the easement.
It almost seems like it should be somehow or other.
I'm sorry, Derek?
To me, it almost seems like that area should somehow or other be tied into the people to the north that use it.
Well, we discussed that to death back in 2011 and 2012. The applicant was agreeable to provide that easement. Those homeowners, I think there were 4 or 5 homeowners along Rockwood Bay, had a prior agreement to be able to utilize the parking at Glenea Restaurant, and this was the solution that came out of all that discussion.
Okay.
Tony Orland
That has to
didn't
be-
give an okay use of it at the time,
Right.
to use that, but then Leonardo gave him an easement to use it legally.
Well, I guess what I'm looking at though is that, you know, all those discussions happened all those years back. And you're saying now that that easement has wording in it, that whoever owns a lot R2 is responsible for maintaining the parking lot. It seems to me that that really should be revisited. That, okay, you have an easement for a parking spot in my front yard, but I'm not responsible for maintaining your parking spaces. That that easement should be modified so that the people who use it are responsible for maintaining it.
There again, we discussed it to death back in 2011, 2012, and this is the kind of outcome of it.
And anybody buying that is gonna know that right up front.
Buyer beware.
And, you know, their attorney's gonna advise them what that easement is. And, you know, either you live with it or you don't.
I wish I had a better answer for you, but this is what it is.
Yeah,
Derek, don't buy the
no, I mean, that's kind of thing, you're making a lot that would, to me, would scare anybody away. Because now I'm responsible for maintaining a parking lot for people, for a lot that I don't use, for other people who use it. And if they fall and slip in my parking lot that I'm required to maintain, I'm liable for it. Why would you ever take that on? And why would that have been agreed to in the original easement? That's why I say I think that I can revisit it. That you want to park there, go ahead. It's your responsibility to maintain it for your own use, not mine.
Are you seeing somewhere in there where it's actually showing where the cars are parking, or is it just part of that lot too?
Lot 2, the parking lot is in the front yard of lot 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but
And on the back, you know,
I don't see
it does say that there's an easement for that.
If you go to the last page, Tony, where it's the color there, it shows it in red.
And that's, as I said, that's an easement that's been encumbered on that lot since 2012. The lot's slightly, actually that lot is slightly larger now, but not
Sure.
much slightly larger. So that's,
But we're in the process of re-subdividing this, making new parcels on it. We have an existing easements there, and I think now would be the opportunity to correct.
Could that,
I mean, it sounds to me like that easement has.
I think the problem is that.
We're assigning the liability to.
I think the problem, and I wasn't here in 2012, but I think the problem is that the residents expect it and they don't want to pay for it because they didn't have to pay for parking at the Glenny's restaurant.
But I mean, if it's sold and torn out.
What's that?
There again.
It's not there.
We had a lot of discussion years ago, discussing the same items we're discussing right now. And the outcome of that,
I realize that, but personally, I can't support this. I can't support putting somebody else's parking lot in a new homeowner's yard and tell them you're responsible for it. I can't support that at all. And I do have other questions.
can it be separated off?
well, we discussed having that dedicated to the town of Webster, but the town of Webster is not gonna maintain that parking lot. It's for private use. And that was another thing we discussed back in 2011, 2012.
And also recently, too, you and I discussed.
And I think these homeowners at the top, as part of this subdivision, they're gonna have to step up and take responsibility for operation and maintenance of it, and change the easement. They don't do that, I can't.
Derek's, you got a legitimate point there, because, and the other side of it is, suppose you got wintertime, snow.
Yeah.
And this guy is gonna be responsible to make sure to plow it out for these houses up there. I mean,
Why am I responsible for plowing my
Yeah,
neighbor's
this guy,
sidewalk?
I wonder if there's some way we can isolate that piece, just remove it. What's the acreage of that lot? Pretty good sized lot.
It's over an acre.
It's over an acre, so.
I'm sorry, let me take that back.
The easement area, you're
It's
talking, the easement area you're talking about.
I'm not sure that.
Well, I'm talking the whole lot, but just a
The
little
lot
bit.
is 0.749 acres.
What is it?
It's 0.749.
Yeah, there it is, I see it, there's three quarters of an acre basically. So 3/4 of an acre, that piece isn't gonna be usable to the homeowner in any way, that's for sure.
He's gotta pay taxes on
And
everything else.
could that, yes, and could that,
I'm paying taxes on your driveway.
yeah,
Oh, lucky me.
could that be,
That's not reasonable.
could that be taken off? The town doesn't want it, that's for sure.
It would be a non-conforming lot. I don't know what you could make it.
It would be?
Well, I believe it would be.
You still got quite a bit of space coming in from driveway.
I don't know, in that, I don't know who would own it
That's the dilemma, right?
Homeowners association with those houses.
There is no homeowners
then.
association.
We approached the town, I spoke with Don a couple months ago, we had numerous meetings on this project. We did try to see if the town would be willing to take this, but the town, I think Don checked around, and the town really didn't want anything to do
No,
with it.
understand.
So it had to stay as part of this. Did not, there was no interest, there appeared to be no interest on the homeowners there forming an association and being taxed for the maintenance of it. So it was decided we would leave it exactly as it was.
You know, suppose if it was left as part of the lot, and in the deed, when it's ultimately done and finished, it's written in there that the homeowner is not responsible for any maintenance or care, snow plowing and so forth, and that would be the responsibility of the people that are gonna be the ones that are benefiting by being able to use it. At least they can
Due to lack
fix it.
of legal counsel, I would caution the board from doing that without the residents that are involved in that easement present.
Yeah.
I
The other
mean,
solution
when
too
this
is,
all came through, Leonardo was the one who voluntarily said,
I'll do it.
I'll give you the easement to use it.
That's right.
I mean, he went overboard, I mean, that was,
Could I make
you know what I mean?
could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Could this be approved with the condition that at such time as Lot R2 is developed, that the matter of the maintenance of this parking area has to be resolved to the satisfaction of the town?
I think we ought to do it before we do the subdivision.
I don't have a solution for you, that's my problem. I can't put it on the residents.
And it seems to me, the people who have it to the north, it's their parking area, it's their benefit thing. We're doing a subdivision, let's subdivide that out and merge it into, Barbara Miller's parcel.
Would the town be willing to be the administrator of a homeowners association, owners association for this?
I doubt that
See,
very much.
I'm in a situation now where I have no solution.
Yeah.
And we'll have the advice of council here.
I hate to table this.
I mean, I'm even seeing someone's garage that's benefited from this building. If anything, it seems to me that this thing should be divided out and merged into the neighboring parcels.
Well, like I said, if you were headed toward an approval, could it be approved conditional upon the resolution of this at the time that Lot R2 comes in for development? That has to come in for development.
Well,
At the time.
I remember the previous meeting when the residents, some of the residents were here. The main purpose of them attending that meeting, they brought that point out that, of the care of that parking lot. I don't see them changing their mind, that they're willing to start maintenance of that parking lot that was promised them free of charge, when this subdivision was established back in 2012.
You know what?
And all it's going to do is hold up Mr. Leonardo the ability of redoing his subdivision, which is less intensive than what he initially planned.
Yeah. I remember back then, they wanted to run a roadway down
Oh,
to the
yes.
houses.
Yeah.
It's like, folks, maybe if this is getting all reviewed again, maybe you guys need to find someplace else to park your cars. I'm changing my drawings and you don't have any easement. But that was was never really fully established, was it? Probably not, because the subdivision was never really established yet.
I know that there was a lot of discussion with the residents and representatives of the East of Leonardo. And this, what you see here this evening is the final outcome of that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that they had long conversations about this, but you're making a decision that whoever's gonna buy this parcel, like, I've already decided for you that you're gonna assume somebody else's liability. Is essentially what the ultimate conclusion was of this.
Right, the way it is now, whoever buys that would have to accept that liability. Maybe that's a defect on his lot, and that probably affects his purchase price and whatever insurance he chooses to have on that. But that is, the lot is presented at this time.
That's really a legal issue there, because to really resolve that, there's nobody would buy that with that responsibility. You know, somebody falling, getting hurt. It's gotta be either somehow a neutral piece, or that the owners that are getting the easement to use that, they have the responsibility to maintain it, the insurance on it, and everything else. They're getting a free piece of land for parking their cars. Nobody said they ever had to have that in the first place. And since this is a brand new project, if you will, and you know, we're modifying all the approvals on this thing, maybe that should be considered to be modified to say, folks, what do you want to do here? You want to buy the piece separately, and you guys maintain it? Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah, that's,
They all partake in ownership of it.
that's
And
what
if
I'm
they
looking
don't,
You see what I'm saying?
But that would be the solution.
Yes.
But to get that together, you've got different property owners, you've got, we talked about this for months.
I can appreciate you had big discussions about this before.
Yeah. No, Derek is, I
In
have to
reality,
agree.
I mean, this is,
He's got a legitimate point there.
this is a new era we're living in. And I see this as
No,
a third party agreeing to somebody else's contract.
No, it's a very good point.
That's not acceptable.
well, like I said, could this be a condition? It could be conditioned on to be resolved at the time of sale of the said lot. or
From
transfer
my
ownership of said lot.
perspective?
Huh? Yeah.
From my personal perspective, no.
What do we gotta do? We gotta
The reason I say no is that will get lost when this thing comes back as its own house sometime in the future. I think it is an issue that, because we are going through re-subdivision right now, it should be just finalized without penalizing the person that buys
Well,
this lot.
respectfully, I think it has been finalized. But if you want to change it, it has been finalized, it has been set up.
No. You
No, I
are,
mean,
right now, you are in for a re-subdivision.
No, I know that, but I mean.
This is a new project, re-subdivision of the existing parcel, and we have an issue. I mean, I see a distinct issue with this parcel the way it is, and my belief is that that has to be fixed, corrected, before I could support this.
So if the residents refuse to do that, and Leonardo insists that he wants to do it, then he cannot re-subdivide his property because you will not vote for it, is that correct?
I won't vote for this, no.
Or, I don't know, I guess I need three.
You know, we're not gonna do a straw vote right now, but that's my position on it. And this is very clearly putting together a parcel there. Okay, he owns the whole area, he's had discussions. He has made the decision that whoever buys this parcel assumes all the liability. So,
If that piece was taken off, does lot 2 still meet the requirements for a square footage for a lot now? I don't know.
Yes,
what
it
it says.
does.
Huh?
Yes.
It does, okay. So if that was taken off, I think,
But what would that lot be then?
what's that?
What would that lot be then? It would just be a piece of land with parking on it, right?
No, what I'm thinking is lot 2, the way you've got it drawn, take that piece out of there, and maybe the attorneys need to be in contact or whatever with the people there are they getting a free piece of property to park their cars? I guess I go back to that, and I know that's what was approved years ago, but. See what I mean?
We'll try to incorporate that into Mr. Leonardo's lot, and then he can take assumption of maintenance and whatnot. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's-
Cut that ladder.
And then the other side, you say?
Just do a 5-foot strip or whatever, makes it part parcel of lot 3.
But the piece is still there, no matter which part of it. It's on
No,
this parcel
yeah,
or
it's
that
still gonna
parcel,
be
it's the
there.
same thing.
I'm just saying, if Mr. Leonardo has no problem maintaining it,
No, what Dave was saying is that Leonardo, lot number 3,
big lot.
would have
Yeah.
a 5-foot strip going over to that parking area. This lot line would then incorporate that parking area, so that the parking area is part of Mr. Leonardo's property.
Responsibility.
Would that landlock R2?
Should make that into a flag lot.
What's that?
Yeah.
It would have a flag lot configuration. But the parcel surrounding the parking lot would be substandard, is my belief, not without running calculations.
No, this is a true one, that's for sure.
I think the minimum size is .413 acres, I believe. And right now it's .7749, so you couldn't, if you split it into, there's no way you could get two lots out of lot R2 that would meet code. One of them, either the parking lot one or the remainder would be, or both would be substandard.
Okay, what do we want to do here? I think, in my opinion, I think there needs to be a meeting with the homeowners, their attorney, and Leonardo's attorney to begin with. Actually, the town shouldn't even be involved in it, this one, in my opinion.
No,
This should be something that's resolved with the owners of the adjoining property.
They
Well,
could probably do a maintenance agreement with
that's,
Mr. Leonardo being responsible to maintain it.
well, that, whatever way they want to do it, or they buy the piece of land, he sells it to them, minimal cost, you know, and then it's their responsibility to maintain it. I mean, what I'm missing, I guess, is why are they given access to this when it's part of this parcel? I mean, I think he's doing it as a favor, he's not charging them. They're the ones that are benefiting, let them buy it and maintain it themselves, or somehow work it out where they maintain it. I have to agree with Derek, should that be part of that lot?
So if they buy it, it will be a substandard lot.
Yeah, but then it's
Well,
just,
now
it's
they
just,
incorporate
it's,
the first
it's
owner.
part of the home, part of that group's property. They all own that piece of property and they can park cars on it or they can grow corn on it, whatever they wanna do.
So they'd have to get, I'm saying they'd have to get a variance because the lot itself would be less than required.
No, because it's not gonna be an established lot, in my opinion. It would be,
It would be established lot,
why?
because you're subdividing it from lot R2, and it's not
Okay, that's
part of
a-
the dedicated road system,
Okay, so it's
an
a piece,
established lot.
it would be a piece of land, call it what you wanna call it. You can't put a lot, but it's still some standard, it'd never be built on.
I understand that.
So,
Give it to the homeowner that owns the first house there, whose land abuts this, and that becomes part of his lot.
there you go too, that's a good,
And then-
that's a good
That
move.
was another thing I said.
Do an
Yeah,
agreement.
that's a good move too, yeah.
Then you don't have anything substandard.
And then in that case, he would be liable for whatever happens to his neighbors.
Whatever.
So that's the same concern that you have with lot R2 owning it.
In one sense, in another sense,
Before
that would be
they
up to them to work out, legally work out in an agreement among themselves. They're benefiting from this.
There's no doubt that there's nothing.
Yeah.
But they agreed to this
It's
kind of situation years ago. And without having all the players here,
Yeah, that's it.
I would,
Yeah.
I would put words in people's mouth.
It's just an issue
Well, this could take 6 months, I don't know. I have no idea how long, this could take years, I don't know. Because I don't think the residents want to be responsible for this. And I think the owner has offered to give this. And whoever would buy it would have to be responsible for that, and that would be factored into the price.
for, and that, to me, that is,
Well,
it's a really basic problem that the person who's selling the land is making a decision for somebody else to take the land.
and that person is buying that.
You are in the position now of eliminating that by subdividing in such a way that whoever buys lot R2 in the future does not assume any kind of operation, maintenance, or liability for that parking area that they don't benefit from.
I don't think anybody will own that.
So in effect, we are creating a lot that is unbuildable or unusable because of, an excessive liability that's being applied to it as a condition of the subdivision.
Not if there's a maintenance agreement.
But again, this is, you're making a decision for somebody else who's gonna buy the parcel.
There's always liabilities. I don't care if it's in town right away,
I realize that, well, this is going in. You tell these people up here that this guy next door, he owns a parking lot, you have permission to do it. That person who just bought it, they're responsible for operation and maintenance of that entire parcel, that parking area. And so if it's not up to stuff, it's not your problem, it's his problem. If you slip and fall in that parking lot, it's not your problem, it's his problem, because you're supposed to maintain it. That's where it takes it over the edge, and where it's not reasonable to put that on the person who buys this property. If you're gonna have a parking area where you're gonna park in, you should maintain it yourself and be responsible for your maintenance. This does go back directly to the comment that was made the last time I was here about the mailboxes, and the lady that said that no one's cutting the grass around the mailbox. We were promised someone was gonna cut the grass. And Tony very rightly said, if the grass is in the way, cut the grass yourself. Because they don't have an agreement with the NRO for them to cut their grass around their mailboxes. Exact same thing. If that's their expectation, then they should own it. Don't keep pushing it on to the next owner.
Yeah, I don't have a solution to it. I think there's some legal issues that need to be addressed, that's all.
Beyond that too, and there's one other thing I noticed on this, is that you have an existing house that's in the wetland buffer, proposed house that protrudes into a buffer, another proposed house that's within the wetland buffer.
Yes,
Have we gotten feedback from?
yes, there was a permit issued for this. I think I said that before,
It's just within the buffer.
2012 and reviewed in 2018 from the EC for that.
So what do we do?
So, I guess if this is tabled tonight, we would want to bring an attorney, I guess, in, and perhaps have the planning board attorney talk about this, to see if there's some solution that would satisfy the planning board that would be workable with the residents that are there and their attorney, and they have one already, but one that's also acceptable to the planning board.
We could have them come in, but would it be better to have them meet prior to and kind of come up with something? Because we could sit here for a couple of hours, just going through that, that's out of our line in a sense,
Something going out there.
Yeah.
But we're kind of stuck on this.
Yeah,
And we really need to.
and they're trying, it's a touchy issue there, man.
Absolutely does.
But, and then Dave come up with a solution, I think that's a very feasible one. Take it and don't give it to the house that's the first one going in on that pathway going back there, join it to his lot, and it's the responsibility of the owners. Then the agreement, then he has it, the agreement would have to be that they partake in plowing and maintenance and so on and so forth.
Better solution would be those homeowners that utilize that parking area, establish a homeowners association. So if you're going to sue, you're going to be suing yourself.
Yeah, but that's, how many houses are there? There's about 5 of them in
I
there?
believe there's 5.
Something like that, if I remember. They're not gonna form homeowners associations, that would cost them more money.
Why do you think they're going to opt out of this easement agreement?
Well, maybe it has to be an option. Here's your choice. You want the property, we're gonna give it to you, you maintain it. Or find another way, because it's gonna be part of this lot and you guys are gonna have to park somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, in some respects, it's the ultimate solution would be is that this winds up just being turned into the turnaround that the town has asked for, and it's subdivided out as, you know, not the entire parking lot, just enough to allow turnaround of maintenance vehicles, and the rest of the parking lot goes away, and make a parking street.
Are they allowed to park in the street?
That doesn't really go anywhere there, that's not a bad idea, to make it part of the highway.
Yeah, it eliminates a good portion of it. This person with the garage would have a garage that's, they can't access anymore. It would just wind up being a hammerhead turnaround for the maintenance vehicles.
I guess I wish I'd known this last time. I should have known about this last time. I'm wondering what might come up next time.
Could have actually set up we could have a meeting with the town, and engineering is there and stuff, and whoever wants to be
You
there.
can see, Mr. Leonardo wants
Hash it out, I don't know.
to sign a maintenance agreement for that?
I think we would need a meeting with the three parties, Leonardo, the residents, and the town. Because they've already got something they agree with, we need the town to agree, so we need the town involved.
Maybe maybe get a meeting set up at the town at some point here in the next week or so, and hash it out, I guess. I don't know, right now,
Leonardo's got to get an attorney on it, and the residents have to get an attorney on it too, I think. It'll take a while.
Well, let's table it. Table it for whatever time it's needed, you can always move it, process with the meeting.
Yep.
This isn't anything that this board is gonna resolve. It's
No, not at all.
one way or another.
It is a dilemma now.
It is a
So when, table it for a month? What's the second?
It'll be March 19th.
Motion to table the amended subdivision for phase loose subdivision to March 19th.
Second.
You making a motion, you made a motion to it? Steve?
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Arena?
Aye.
Mr. Rampy?
Aye.
Mr. Koso?
Aye.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Pashani?
I guess we don't really have a long term. That is unique and tough situation. There's a lot of legalities on it, I don't think it's anything we can handle. All right, I guess that's it for this evening, and thank you for coming in.
Meetings, that's what we have.
January 15th. It was a January,
Yeah, they were good.
January
I sent some, a couple things in, I think.
February.
I'm sorry.
I flipped it off, I flipped it over.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we approve them.
February 5th.
Actually, I didn't even make any corrections, they were pretty good.
Yeah, right, because it was.
Can't you bring it down together?
Not
Bring it all
really.
together.
Somewhat. Keep getting better.
Aye.
Yeah, I made a motion, somebody seconded.
Who seconded it?
All
All
in
in
favor?
favor?
Aye. Guys.